A very pleasant good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the People's Forum in the streets with Big Stone. I did a story yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, about the beggar boy, and I was so surprised to see that a lot of people watched that video. And it was just a story that someone sent me on my WhatsApp. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to dig a little deeper and I'm going to share a story that my father told me many years ago. And it's a story, ladies and gentlemen, that kept me away from smoking cigarettes. I do smoke herb now, but that's sacramental. But cigarette, I have nothing at all to do with cigarette. And this is the reason why. My father told me this when I was about maybe 6 or 7 years old. And ladies and gentlemen, later on as I became older, I kind of believed that this story was about my dad. Now, my father had a lot of us, and he grew up extremely poor in the district of Enfield, St. Mary. And he said that one day he was at a shop. It was raining a little bit, so there were pools of water on the ground. And he said this man that he knows very well was also very poor and wanted a cigarette. So while they were there contemplating about how they're going to get a cigarette, a very rich man drive up in a Cadillac. Back in the days, Cadillac, the fishtail Cadillac, was like the cars of cars. So this man, rich man, drove up in a Cadillac, walked into the store, ordered a pack of cigarettes, and came out. Opened up the pack of cigarettes. When he was about to put a cigarette in his mouth, this man that wanted a cigarette so bad asked him for a cigarette. He said, "Sir, please, is it possible for you to share a cigarette?" And ladies and gentlemen, the most appalling thing happened. You know what the man did? The wealthy man? He opened up the pack of 20 and he poured all the cigarettes on the ground in the pool of water that was now settled after the drizzling rain. And he used his foot, ladies and gentlemen, and he crushed up every single cigarette he could find. And he turned to the man and says, "I can afford to smoke. That's why I smoke. But you obviously cannot afford to smoke. So don't." Ladies and gentlemen, that hit me really hard because I felt so embarrassed for that man. Can you imagine? You really wanted something and the person had it in abundance. And because they figure you cannot afford this habit, they themselves deny you the opportunity to partake of what they had. So ladies and gentlemen, from that story, and I think that was my father. For some reason, I just think that was my father, and he tried to use it as an example for me not to pick up such a bad habit. And ladies and gentlemen, I never did. Never picked up the habit of smoking. Never liked smoking. Never even tried it. Because every time I thought about that story that my dad told me, it steers me clear away from the habit. Now there's another story now, ladies and gentlemen, that my mother told me. And this story kind of kept me in circumspect. You know what I mean? It kept me from getting involved with drugs and getting involved with gangs and getting mixed up, and my name was calling all over the place for negative reasons. This story that my mother told me really stayed with me. I'm 60 years old now, ladies and gentlemen, but I still remember this story as if it was yesterday. She said, "Claude, there was this woman, and this woman had just one son. And this son was a very troubled child. This son used to go out and rob people, and when he robbed people, he would come home with the spoils of his robbery, and give it to his mother. He would go out, break a shop, come home with the spoils, and share it with his mother. And he had one of those mothers, ladies and gentlemen, that was licky licky. Licky licky means she wanted everything. She didn't care where it came from. She didn't care how he got it. Once it was available and he offered it to her, she would take it. And ladies and gentlemen, after you do stuff over a period of time, especially bad things, you will get caught. And ladies and gentlemen, her son got involved in a robbery. And when he committed that robbery, ladies and gentlemen, something went really, really wrong. And he shot and killed a man. And ladies and gentlemen, this was really, really bad on the mother because this was her only son. She loved him to death. Anyway, she tried to get up some money to take care of his lawyer fee and so on. But that didn't work. The judge and the jury found him guilty. The day, ladies and gentlemen, that he was about to be sentenced, the mother came into the courtroom and sat there, crying and so on, tears running down her face. And after the judge committed him to life without the possibility of parole, he asked the judge, he says, Your Honor, could you grant me one wish, please? There were a lot of police officers there, and of course he was handcuffed and all that, so the judge didn't see it as a problem to honor the wish that he had asked for. And the judge asked him, what is the wish that you want from me? And he said, I'd like to say something to my mom. And the judge said, well, of course, go ahead. And the young man beckoned to his mom to come a little closer, because what he wanted to say to her, he didn't want everybody in the courthouse to hear. And ladies and gentlemen, when the mother, tears in her eyes, came over, he said, Mom, could you come over just a little bit more? And she bent over, ladies and gentlemen, and she turned her ear to listen to what her son had to say. And you know what he did, ladies and gentlemen? He bite off her ear and spit it out. And she said, what did you do that for? What make you do that? And he turned to her and he said, Mom, all these years I was robbing, stealing, doing all kind of idiot things, and not one time did you ever say to me what I was doing was wrong. So this is my way, Mom, of paying you back for not paying attention to me, for not giving me the time of day, for not encouraging me to go into a life of crime, which you know the outcome would be. Because you were so greedy, thinking all about yourself and not actually thinking about me, your only son. And look at where I am today. Ladies and gentlemen, when my mom told me that story, it hit real close to me. And I remember it, ladies and gentlemen, as if it was yesterday. I know it's a story that is told in Jamaica a lot. A lot of Jamaican family must have heard that story because it's a widespread story in Jamaica. And I'm saying this to young parents, older parents, people who don't even have children yet, but do intend to have children one day. Do not encourage your child or your children in a life of crime. Even if you're poor, try and reach out to your children. Let them understand that you love them. Let them understand that the little that you have, you'll share it with them. But please don't go out of your way to provide anything for me. And ladies and gentlemen, this is very important, especially in today's date, when we have so much idiot things going on. There's a lot of youths behind bars. A lot of youths, if their parents had only talked to them, paid them some attention, they would not be in the situation that they are today. So those two stories, I just felt like sharing it with you. I only hope that you will tell those stories to your children and that those stories will act as a deterrent For those stories that were told to me by my mom and my dad, I became a member of the Boy Scouts. I became a member of the Boys Brigade. I became a member of the Montego Bay Marching Band, playing the trumpet. I became a member of the Jamaica Defense Force. I was a soldier. And I also became a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that I grew up to be this perfect kid. But ladies and gentlemen, I tried my best in my poverty days. I tried my best to live within my means. And I'm begging you, please tell this to your children. If your mom or your dad cannot afford something, you're growing. You're growing. One day you'll be a man. Like today, I'm a man today. But because of the teaching, the discipline of my mom and dad, Rodney Sinclair and Pearline Sinclair, I want to say thank you very much for doing the best you can with little or nothing. Thank you very much for helping me to grow. Thank you very much for making me turn out to be the man that I am today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all. You can share my story. You do please have a wonderful day. I had a ball telling it. Thank you.